Hey everybody. So this is the first of several videos in which we really focus on what keeps people in relationships. All right, so I'm going to share the screen with you, and here we go. So, up to now, we've primarily been talking about what attracts us to a relationship, what attracts us to one person over another. But now let's talk about once we're in a relationship, what keeps us there. And the answer to that question, at least partially, is satisfaction, relationship satisfaction. Now, what do I mean by when I say relationship satisfaction? Well, Russ Bolt has simply defined relationship satisfaction as to the how positively we evaluate uh, a relationship and how attracted we are to staying in that relationship. So, what kinds of things make us satisfied with relationships? Well, the thing we're going to focus on in this video is uh, a reason for satisfaction highlighted by social exchange theory. Now, social exchange theory argues that we all have certain expectations about what costs a relationship should impose and what benefits a relationship imposes. Constantly you hear things like this being communicated in fiction and all sorts of media. Sometimes you'll hear people say things like, it shouldn't be in relationships in those kind of dramatic shows. Things shouldn't be this hard. That's an expression of expected cost and expected benefit. Clearly, in those scenarios, the cost of that relationship outweigh the benefits, and so that they leads them to dissolve the relationship. So again, social exchange theory argues that we have this idea of what a relationship should cost and what we should get from that relationship. And it argues that we have an expectation of the cost of that cost-benefit ratio from a particular relationship. And so when we're in a relationship, we have a comparison. We have a expectation of the cost-benefit ratio that we're going to get from that relationship. Now, if the cost-benefit ratio of our relationship no longer matches what we expect relationship satisfaction from. If we find a potential alternative mate who we think would give us a greater cost-benefit ratio, or I guess a lower cost-benefit ratio, I mean less cost, more benefit, then we may become less satisfied with that relationship. And when we talk about the cost-benefit ratio expected from an alternative mate, we're talking about the comparison of alternatives. So, we'll consider alternative mates and think about the costs and benefits we might get from pursuing relationships with those individuals. And if the costs are lower and benefits higher in those alternative relationships, then our satisfaction of the current relationship begins to drop. Now, over time, as we spend more and more time in a relationship, we start to feel more invested in this relationship. And indeed, pretty much any time we kind of see something as ours, or we kind of it's in fact called the endowment effect. When, let's say that somebody gave me this mug, the hotel room mug, but let's say it became mine for whatever reason. Well, just by virtue of now owning it, which if somebody gave it to me, I got it for free. By virtue of owning it, I have endowed value on it. And so if I sold this, I would sell it for more than I got it for. By virtue of selling it, I'm asking for more for it than what I gave for it. So in simply having it endows value. Sorry for that and I don't remember. So as we're in a relationship, it's endowed with more value. And as we spend more time in a relationship, we invest more in that relationship. And so we sink effort and time into that relationship. And so these investments become an additional cost to dissolving the relationship. Well, I guess you could also think about it as being a potential benefit for remaining in the relationship. You get to keep any return on an investment. So the greater the investment in a relationship, the longer the relationship is to continue. All right, and so that is one of the things that can affect relationship satisfaction in the relationship. Does the relationship provide the right or at least the expected ratio of cost to benefit? And if it doesn't, if it provides more cost than less benefit, then relationship satisfaction will suffer. But if it does the opposite, if it provides less cost and more benefit than expected, then relationship satisfaction can benefit. I'm being called by my wife, by the way, so I'm going to go answer that call, but that's it for this video anyway. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, see you in the next video.